Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I want to kind of react to the news yesterday. So yesterday I reported the news about the double drops, the bonus drops for Nisa and Rex, the droid brains coming to the cantina, and I want to do a reaction to it and kind of give you some advice on how I would prepare for it, because I think a lot of players are in this position where they don't know what to do and what to take advantage of. So I want to kind of give you guys the roadmap, kind of give you some understanding of what's going on, and give you some thoughts. And the reason I want to do this today is when I was in college and I ran cross country and track, for those of you who don't know, my friends and I had this rule called the 24-hour rule. So in the 24 hours after your race, you would get to piss and moan because you ran poorly, get to celebrate because you ran great. And after that 24 hours is up, right, which normally we'd race on a Saturday, so you'd get all day Sunday to kind of piss and moan or celebrate. Monday, at practice, it's time to put your, get your big boy pants back on, right, and, move on to the next one. And I think that that's what I wanted to do here, where I wanted to take some time, let it sink in, and then give you guys some honest thoughts. So we're going to get in here, but first and foremost, huge shout out to the channel memberships. Thank you guys so much. My channel members, you guys are awesome, and I really appreciate your continued support. If you guys are interested in joining channel memberships, there's a link in the description down below. Otherwise, hit that thumbs up button and like this video, and more importantly, subscribe to this channel. It's free. It helps it grow so much. I really appreciate you guys. This channel has just continued to blow up, and I really appreciate it. Really, really do. So let's get into the game. I'm not going to go to the forums and look at the whole post they put out because we covered that, but I want to talk about the bonus drops first. So as good as these bonus drops are, we need to be realistic with ourselves about what's actually happening here. So remember, you can't, before we get to Rex and Nisa, right, just remember, you still have Scout Trooper, and you can't forget about Drogon, who's not even released yet. So yes, they're giving us bonus drops for Rex and Nisa, which is fantastic. I love it. But there's no Scout Trooper, and there's no Drogon. And a lot of players, I think, are going to fall into this trap of going all in for Rex and Nisa, and maybe they get them to 7 stars during these bonus drops because that's the way players are. And then Scout Troopers sitting there like, haha, you need to farm me for, 200, however many shards left that you need to get from me. Right, 280 shards left. And Drogon, who isn't even in the game yet. So I don't want you to feel like you have this pressure to 7-star these characters during these bonus drops, because there's still other farming that needs done. The other thing I heard from a lot of players was, don't even farm Nisa, just farm Rex, because Nisa could hit the Cantina. Well, one, what if Nisa doesn't hit Cantina? And then she's stuck on a hard node. But also, what about Scout Trooper? What about Drogon? Where are they? If they hit, if Nisa goes to the Cantina, but those guys that go to hard nodes, like, what's the harm in farming Rex on a 60 energy node? Part of my gut says that you'd want to focus more on Nisa because she's the unknown element right now. Again, that's the way that my brain thinks. I'm the other way around, where I'd rather deal with the evil I know rather than the evil I don't know. I will be farming each equally, because if Nisa does go to the Cantina, I'll be able to get her faster, even though it'll cost me signal data. But I also don't want to not get free shards for Rex that could potentially lead me to getting Kyra techs faster. So that's the way I'm going to be handling the bonus drops for Rex and Nisa. But I do want everybody to understand that, you can't forget that you still have to do farms for 2 other characters. And who knows? This is something I want to throw out here. What if Drogon is a Galactic Chase character? You think you've got these bonus drops, you got these double drops, and we even had these fleet mastery events, which just happened and are going to be happening, where players are going to be spending all their resources doing these things. And then Drogon comes out as a Galactic Chase. I'm throwing it out there. It's very weird to me that they've been talking about this character for how long, and it just, like, they're not in the game yet. We don't know what the plan is. Are they going Galactic Chase? It was something I was thinking about because they did it with the Leviathan ships. I'm very curious if they would do that with Drogon, because they know that they could probably make more money doing that than if they just did it the other way. So I've been really thinking about that. It's something I'm very curious about. So anyway, and that kind of, bled in a little bit with this fleet mastery timing, but the timing of these fleet mastery events, I mean, even if you threw in the profundity here as well, the double drop events start, I think, right around when Leviathan came back. The Executor event just happened the other day. It seems like they're trying, and then profundity will happen a few days after the double drops end. So you kind of did all these things smack dab in the middle of these fleet mastery events where people are normally saving crystals. Again, I'm just being a little bit negative, but that's part of this 24-hour rule, right? That you kind of, you think a little bit more clearly. And it's one of the things I saw that was a little bit suspect to me. So there is that situation. Now, I have Jabba as a placeholder here, but you could really think of that as whatever farm you're currently doing. And then you have Leia. So there's the bonus drops here for Rex and Nisa, and then there's the double drops immediately afterwards. Now, all players will benefit from each one. But if you were to go for, say, Jabba right now, if that's your current goal, you're going to benefit a heck of a lot more from the double drop event than you are the bonus drops for Rex and Nisa, because for your next farm, you don't need Rex and Nisa right now. You need signal data. You need Coors Light Leia and Chrysanthemum and stuff for Jabba. So if you're going for one of those other things in the game, the double drop event is where you're going to want to focus on. That's where you're going to want to spend the additional currencies and resources, because that's going to impact your account immediately, right? That is an immediate influx to your account that's going to help you. Compare that to if you're going for Leia, you're going to want to focus a little bit more on the bonus drops, because that's going to jumpstart your farming for her. It's going to make it a lot less time that you might need to be farming her, but more importantly, it's going to set you up that maybe you do get Rex and Nisa close to done, and you don't have to spend as many crystals refreshing their nodes, that you can then refresh nodes for Scout Trooper and Drogon or wherever they end up at. So I think for Leia, the bonus drops is a lot more impactful, and for everything else, the double drops is a lot better. Not saying that the people going for Leia won't appreciate the double drops, but my personal opinion, unless you already have those characters at 7 stars, I throw the resources to try and get them to a reasonable place. I'd say that you want to do, split your resources between double drops and bonus drops equally, because those bonus drops are just going to be, they're chef's kiss, right? I want to throw this in here. I don't want players getting distracted by this news. I'm really proud of a lot of players who were commenting saying, I got to stay the current course. I got to finish off what I'm doing. I can't get distracted. That's the smartest thing you can do right now. Don't get distracted by what you're currently doing, and then you finish that and you figure out what to do from there. And I'm going to just pause here for a second while I want to give a huge shout out to Andrew Bradshaw, who's one of my channel members. And he commented that he was curious if the reason for these bonus drops is Capital Games is trying to experiment with a new monetization idea. And for a long time, the way I've always viewed Capital Games monetization policy, idea, whatever you want to call it, when they release something in this game, right? They release new characters, they do all this stuff. They look at it as, let's say there's 100,000 people playing the game. They would rather ask the top 1,000 players, they'd rather ask 1,000 players to spend $100 than ask the entire 100,000 players to spend $1. I feel like that's always been Capital Games' mindset. They're focused on the players who are going to spend the most amount of money, while kind of not really caring if the rest of those players, right, that you think like those 1,000 players are outspending the other 99,000 players, right? That's the way that, their model normally works. That's what it relies on, is that those players at the top are the ones generating the revenue that they need. And I think that with these drops, I'm curious if they're going to try and say, hey, you know what? We're going to try and incentivize the rest of those 99,000 players to spend money, because before it's, I got to spend $300 to get Rex to 7-star, and then I've got to worry about all the gear for him. Oh, Rex isn't that far away from being 7-star. Maybe I'll spend a little bit, get him there, get some gear on him, and I'm going to be good. I mean, I think that could make them a lot more money. So I'm curious if they're trying to incentivize players to spend money by giving them access to things that they normally didn't have. So that's just something that he said, and I completely agree, because I was thinking the same thing as he was. All right, so the last thing we need to cover is Relic 10. Do I think Relic 10 is coming? My heart tells me no. That my heart says, hey, they know that it's too early for Relic 10. There's not enough players even participating with Relic 10. And I want to bring up the reason why this is coming up is because there's some of these data mine packs where we're going to get chances for Relic 9 materials. And in the Cantina, while the bonus drops for Rex and Nisa are happening, they're also going to be dropping droid brains for players who have one of them, at least one of them, at 7 stars. What I would say is that the reason they're doing that, right, my heart says the reason they're doing that is because their data is showing them that not enough of the game is able to participate with the Relic 9 nodes in the new territory battles. That they were hoping those players at the top end of the game would be able to have more Relic 9s to be able to do more in territory battles. And I wonder if they're seeing that that's just not happening. And so part of their thought process is let's kind of jumpstart everybody's, Relic 9, stockpile a little bit, give everybody a little bit more resources, and see if we could get there. That's just something I was thinking about. I don't know. But that's my heart, right? My heart says that Capital Games is smart enough to know that the player data just doesn't support that Relic 10 is ready. Especially because everybody's Relic 10s are going to be Revan, Piet, and Radis. Like, you think the vast majority of the player base isn't going to be putting Relic 10 on Galactic Legends. They're going to be putting them on these, fleet commanders and stuff where it's going to make a difference, especially with Leviathan, with how broken that ship is in terms of, like, mirror matches. There's no reason why you wouldn't put Relic 10 on your Darth Revan. So, yeah. Now my heart, that's my heart speaking. Now my head says that Relic 10 could probably be coming because Capital Games has never exactly been the greatest at understanding what good content will do for the player base. And I think that's been very clear from what the Krayt Dragon raid is, and even with this new Endor raid coming out very, very quickly, they, kind of struggled with that balance. But I also think that they're kind of looking at it as we need to capture, cash cow time, right? See if we can get people to panic spend. But I don't think Relic 9, there's just not enough. The problem isn't even Relic 9. I think, as I've said before, the problem is Relic 8. It's so hard to get to Relic 8 that then to get to Relic 9 is an even bigger jump. To get to Relic 10, it's astronomical, especially if it follows the current trend where to get to Relic 7, you need Zimbalist cards. To get to Relic 8, you need Zimbalist cards, Impulse Detectors, Air Magnifiers. To get to Relic 9, you need Zimbalist cards, Impulse Detectors, Air Magnifiers, Gerda Keypads, Droid Brains. What if Relic 10 adds on 2 additional resources that you need to do on top of all the rest of those things? Like, it would just be, the cost would be astronomical. So, yeah, I don't see at all how Relic 10 could be coming, but like it's not above Capital Games to do it, and I think a lot of players I think it would be very bad for the game if they did it. So those are just some thoughts, guys, of the 24 hours. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like and subscribe, comment, and I'll see you on the next video. May the Force be with you. Cheers.